Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the STEM Cohort 3 Solar Project. I'm Chase Evans.
And I'm Caleb Claiborne.
And we'll be your hosts for this morning. Thank you all for coming. We know you had to take time out of your busy schedules to attend today. We organized this presentation to present a proposal and design to transition McIntosh to solar energy.
This presentation will take roughly 60 minutes, and we would appreciate it if you stayed for the duration of the presentation and held your questions to the end, where there will be a dedicated Q&A. The agenda for today's presentation is as follows. We'll begin with the why, followed by the how, which includes each group's individual part, and then finally, how much. Without further ado, our first presenter, Maximilian Ragemeyer.
I could stand here for hours and tell you about all the motivations and reasons to transition McIntosh to solar. But for your convenience, after all of our research, we've singled it out to 3 select reasons, the 3 E's: educational, environmental, and economic. The first is educational. If you haven't noticed, I hope you did already since you had to come here, McIntosh is a school, which means that its main purpose is learning and its first priority is its students. It is a school's responsibility to give students the best education possible and provide the most opportunities for them to learn and develop. So, how can solar panels impact education at McIntosh? If you were to consider for a moment what this presentation means, not in its content, but in the fact that for an entire year, you have 22 passionate students learning new information, developing new skills, and building community connections. If this project can motivate this many students, I guarantee that there's many more just like us interested and invested in McIntosh's future. This project could continue as a legacy project for the STEM program, with new students continuing its project as it spreads to other schools within the county. You could, as an opportunity to teach new students about technology, you could even have students from middle schools and elementary schools come and tour our building to show them our cutting-edge applications. Think about what this would teach them. You would be teaching them that they have an administration that gives them the opportunity to innovate and change their environment and community for the better. This is an incredibly important lesson to teach the future of our nation. It's one of a school's jobs to motivate students, and trust me, this will motivate them. It has certainly motivated me, and I can assure you that it will motivate other students to be creative and innovate. So, if it does teach them how to impact their environment, how will it be impacting the environment? The sun emits 300 septillion watts of energy every second. That is 380 followed by 24 zeros. It is the largest energy resource currently available to us, yet we have instead chosen to rip at the ground, chop up trees, and mine up coal for our electricity. We have made ourselves dependent on a resource that is depletable, and our extreme use of this energy in the form of coal not only shows a lack of respect for the resources provided to us by our planet, but has the possibility to cost us dearly in the future, if not already in the present. You're all well educated here, so I don't think I need to explain the effects of global climate change, but it can destroy our environment. The 21st century has so far been the most negatively impactful time period on the environment to date. However, it is the technology made available to us in the 21st century that has given us the unique opportunity to change this. Solar panel technology is available, and it is capable of powering our school. In the 2017 to 2018 school year, McIntosh used 2,766,451 kilowatt hours of electricity, which, due to Georgia Power's 90% inline loss rate, this transfers to a whopping 6,796,400 pounds of coal. Now, this is a really big number, and it's hard to imagine, but if you were to look at the size of this senior cafeteria, that amount of coal would fill this cafeteria nearly 4 times over, and that is just in one school year. This amount of coal will create emissions over 4 million pounds of CO2, 25,000 pounds of sulfur dioxide, and 4,000 pounds of nitrogen oxide, along with an array of other harmful greenhouse gases and heavy metals. Again, these numbers are really big and hard to imagine, but the lesson is this: it is a lot, and it is detrimental to our environment. The school's carbon footprint is absolutely gigantic, and our electricity usage is the largest contributor to this. Solar panels, instead, have 0 emissions. Nothing. Not a zero, zip, zilch. However you want to say it, it all means the same thing. Not a single particle of pollutant will be released into the atmosphere by our electricity usage if we switch to solar panels. This is a dramatic change for the better, and this change would not only help our environment, but also help our budget. Last year, from 2.75 million kilowatt hours of electricity, McIntosh spent $475,045. Now, compared to the millions and millions I was spouting off earlier, it might seem small, but if you'd imagine if you got a pay raise of $475,000, I think that'd be pretty significant. It's quite a big bill, and that is a lot of money, but it is a lot of money that could very easily be put to a better use. If McIntosh were to switch entirely to solar energy, providing 100% of our electricity through solar technology, that means that there would be an extra $475,000 to be spent on creating a better learning environment for students. Per capita, per student, this is nearly $300 to spend on programs such as fine arts, athletics, or new classes and programs that are leading our students into the future, such as our wonderful STEM program, and others, of course. I'm sure your minds can already think of plenty of uses for this amount of money. This section is really the most self-explanatory motivation behind solar panels. Maybe if you don't think that teenagers are going to be motivated about solar panels, that's fair enough. I'm a teenager, it's hard to get us motivated about much. Or maybe you're not a tree hugger, you don't really mind if we're putting a bunch of emissions into the atmosphere, but I think that the idea of saving a few bucks, and not just a few bucks, but millions and millions of dollars over years and years, having a $0 electricity bill in just 5.6 years, that's the recoup time and the return on investment for McIntosh. Well, I think that's pretty good motivation. Solar panels are the next step for McIntosh. It is inevitable. To educate students, save the environment, and save millions of dollars, it is a choice that should be made now. Yeah.
Thank you, Max. We will now move into the how part of our presentation. Next up is McGuire Manthe with Community Outreach.
So during this project, one of the important aspects has been getting our name out there and gaining connections. So as you can see here, we have the 3 C's, which for my group was the basis of what we went off of, which was communicating to the community, gaining connections, and building credibility. One example of how we did this is that we went on field trips. One of the field trips that we went on was to the Crown Plaza Hotel in Peachtree City, and many of you might have seen the article about them. They have diverted 25% of their power source to solar energy. We talked with Aaron Scranton there, who was in charge of getting the solar panels onto the hotel. He discussed the specs and process for installation on a large scale, and he told us that the model that he utilized for this was the LG400. Also throughout this project, we've had community support. We released a survey onto the Life in the Bubble Facebook page, and 95% of people over hundreds of responses said yes, they would like to see solar energy for Fayette County schools. An additional place that we went on a field trip was to South Face, which is a company in Atlanta that has a goal of reaching full sustainability. They have implemented many different sustainable technologies, and this has helped them get Platinum LEED certification. One of their roles as a company is helping other homes implement these technologies. And our guides during this tour was Lawrence Pittman and Jacob Gerlins. So they're an organization that promotes the use of these Platinum LEED technologies to lead to a sustainable future. Another company that's also Platinum LEED certified is Perkins & Will, and they're one of the top 10 architectural firms in the world. We also met with Mike Satterfield, who's the Director of Facility Services for Fayette County Schools, and he gave us a tour of the new McIntosh building while it's still under construction, and he told us that we could possibly implement solar for the HVAC systems. We also met with Dave Burdett, who's in charge of electricity for the county. That was just a few of the students in my class. They met with him. And so as you can see, we've been able to learn from professionals, gain connections, and conduct research over this year-long project in order to gain a credible and feasible proposal. We've gained a wide array of knowledge, and we have built connections throughout this project. We've had overwhelming and positive feedback. And thank you to anybody in this room who's given us feedback for the project. So to speak specifically to the county, the community has had their say. So what will yours be?
Thanks, McGuire. Our next presenter is Nicholas Farinacci with 3D modeling and building design.
Hi, I'm Nick Farinacci. I was the leader of the 3D modeling and design group. So, as we started our project, the purpose was to design an accurate and proportional model to the new McIntosh edition, while also implementing energy sustainable features to save the county money and to help the environment. So I present to you the new McIntosh edition. So as you can see here, we constructed our model using foam board, which allowed for accurate and precise measuring. We cut the pieces with a bandsaw and hot glued them all together. And we visited the county center and received the original blueprints of the new McIntosh edition. With that, as you can see here, we constructed a ×2 scale of the blueprints, so it's slightly larger than the blueprints themselves, which allowed for easier representation of the model. We constructed the model with a modular design, as you can see here, which allowed for rapid construction, and it's easy to take apart and show the different pieces. So as you can see here, you can take it apart and see the different model or the different rooms to the addition with the modular design. So we designed this model to incorporate energy and cost-efficient features. The new McIntosh building can be retrofitted to incorporate these new features. All of this having LEED in mind. Some of you may not know what LEED is. Some of you may. But LEED stands for Leadership in Energy and Environmental Design. The goal of LEED is to create healthier, more productive designs through retrofitting original construction to overall reduce stress on the environment. Now, U.S. buildings account for 38% of all CO2 emissions in the environment, or in the United States. 13% of potable water, which is 15 trillion gallons, and 73% of all electricity consumption is consumed by just buildings alone. Now, with LEED in mind, LEED projects divert over 80 million tons of waste from landfills, consume a quarter less energy, and produce 34% lower greenhouse gas emissions. This is great for the environment, but there are also other advantages. For example, economic advantages. From 2015 to 2018, LEED buildings saved over $1.2 billion in energy savings, $149 million in water savings, $715 million in maintenance savings, and $54 million in waste savings. There are also health benefits to these LEED buildings. It allows for clean air and access to sunlight. It excludes very harmful chemicals such as paints and finishings that could possibly cause respiratory issues. And also, it overall optimizes well-being. Now, of course, with all of these benefits to LEED, there's a huge push to get LEED certification. There are different levels of LEED. There is certified, which is 40 to 49 points, silver, which is 50 to 59 points, gold, which is 60 to 79 points, and platinum, which is 80 to 110 points. Now, what are these points, you're asking? As you can see here, we filled out a LEED analysis chart, which, as you can see, each of the qualities that we're able to do for the building, is indicated in the white section. The ones that are in the highlighted in gray are the ones that would be not feasible for the new McIntosh building. But as you can see, if you total all of these up, we get a 66, which 66, that doesn't sound great, but 66 puts us right in gold. Now, gold will not only save the school and county money, but will overall dramatically decrease the stress on the environment. And all those, you can see all of the qualifications that we were able to meet with the new McIntosh building. So, LEED in the model. We are able to implement window overhangs above the rack for shade on the windows. We're able to implement plants, put trees in our model, which also allows for shade and evapocooling. We put bike racks, which is another quality in the LEED analysis or in the LEED qualifications. And we also used rain systems. And those are just some of the examples of LEED features that can be implemented into the new McIntosh building. Now, implementing all of these new points in the McIntosh edition, as I said, will achieve us gold. But with LEED in mind, thinking bigger scale here, with LEED in mind, it is possible to reach platinum, or LEED platinum, for new buildings such as the new booth, which I'm sure a lot of you are aware of. and also retrofitting existing buildings, such as the new McIntosh edition, can achieve other levels of LEED. So overall, implementing this will save the school and the county money and help the environment. Thank you.
Thanks, Nick. We will now move on to Ian McKiernan and Joseph Metzler with Future Research and Development.
Morning. My name's Ian McKiernan, and this is Joe Metzler. And so we've been leading the Future Research and Development team. So Nick just talked to you about what we can do to the building itself to get LEED Platinum certification and improve the environment. So what we were looking at was how to improve solar panel technology itself so that we can reach greater efficiencies. And so that's the entire point of what we did. And so we've got one of our models over there. We're gonna go through, Joe and I are gonna go through and explain how that works and how those are benefits to what we have currently. And then we'll talk about some takeaways from this. So I'm gonna let Joe talk about the mechanics of that.
So I'm in charge of the construction of a moving solar panel mount that maximizes energy capture. This is the future of the solar panel industry. And as technology improves, prototypes such as these can dramatically increase energy production. So as we can see, we designed this mount with the RF center, 3D design software. This mount moves in two axes, which counts the movement of the sun over the day and year, which is controlled by two high-torque motors. Now this mount allows for 6 solar panels to move in unison, as you can see here. And let's see. So the mount moves as a unit, which makes maintenance much easier. I'll now hand back off to Ian, who has designed the electronic control structure.
Okay, so my job was to do all that really messy wiring you see over there. And so basically what I've got here is a sensor array inside the box. So now this wasn't designed for units as small as this. It was designed for this is designed for a full-size solar panel unit. And as you can see inside, it's a 3D printed box with 4 sensors. Okay, so these sensors get an analog input to the microcontroller here, which using the relationship of these sensors to each other, we're able to use the shadows created on the walls of the box to track the sun. And so this allows us to be more reactive than traditional database sensor moving tracking mounts, which allows us to track the sun, which boosts our efficiency by up to 25% on top of the traditional south-facing stationary mounts. So that's the main reason why we're doing this type of thing. And then Joe's technology or mount design is really important because that's going to cut our maintenance down a lot. The gearboxes on traditional solar panels need to be replaced every 3 to 10 years, but that's for each individual solar panel on the entire field. This has them working in units, which means that it's two high torque motors per up to probably 40 or 50 panels, which means that maintenance costs go down exponentially. And so now how else can we improve efficiency? Oh, and also this is the code that I came up with to run this. It's firmware running on the Arduino IDE, which is going to this microcontroller, which also allows it to be expandable. And so we can outfit it with Bluetooth and Wi-Fi capabilities so that we can get live data from this panel technology. Okay, so here's some other things which we don't have modeled, but are really up-and-coming things. So over here, we have a evaporative cooling system, which will spread water on our roof to cool the solar panels. Now, solar panels are tested at 25 degrees Celsius, which, honestly, I can't tell you what that is in Fahrenheit. That's my bad. But, so they're tested at 25 degrees Celsius. Every degree above 25 degrees, they're gonna lose efficiency. This goes up to almost 25% of the original efficiency of the solar panels. So, with using rainwater from the rain cisterns that are already in a LEED Platinum building, we're able to evaporatively cool these solar panels without using any new resources. And so, down to the right, you'll also see some new panel designs, which we aren't designing currently, but they're being worked on all over the world. These panels are able to use 90% of the solar spectrum, which will increase our efficiency by about 80% of the traditional solar panels that we have now, which are silicon-based. These are using carbon nanotubes, which are able to be fine-tuned to the different spectrums. And so now, what are the takeaways of this? Now, some of these technologies aren't applicable in every single situation, but as you can see, technologies are constantly improving. And so with these technologies, your ROI for the investment that you're gonna make is going to be constantly improving. And as you phase this out into all sorts of different areas, it'll be getting better and better and better as time goes on. And so that's not to say that technology isn't there now. Technology has come a really, really long way in a very, very short time, and it is possible to do everything that Max has been talking about with technology that is here right now. And so these innovations and upcoming technologies are able to lead McIntosh into the future. Thank you.
Thanks, Joe and Ian. Our next presenters are Mike Zhang and Madhavaj Prem Kumar with app design, and following them, Abigail Spencer with maintenance.
Hi, so we're the app design group, and our purpose in this big solar project was to make programs that will calculate efficiency and many other aspects of the installment process of solar panels. The first app we made calculates the number of years it will take to recoup the cost for installment, and it also calculates the amount of money saved each year by switching over to solar. My app takes in 3 inputs. It takes in the number of panels, the amount of money cost for installation, and the amount of energy generated by one panel each day in kilowatt hours. These inputs are taken from the user and calculated, and mathematical operators and logical operators are used to calculate the 2 outputs, which are the recoup years and the amount of money saved each year by switching over to solar. And this app is very useful for people who are installing solar panels in the future, and they can use this app to compare 2 different products that might be very close. So there might be one that has high efficiency and high amount of cost, low efficiency and low cost, and you might want to see which one takes the least amount of years to recoup the cost so that it's financially feasible for whoever's installing it. And here's Mike with program number 2.
So after you run the program 1, you may run the program 2, which calculates the efficiency and the money you save, which is solar panel on within an hour. The program 2 takes up 2 inputs. The first input is the price of electricity in your region, which is in dollar per kilowatt hour. And the second input is the total output of the solar panel within an hour, which is in kilowatt hour. The program may accept multiple output of solar panel value, and the program will take care of each of them. But the program will only take us up 1 electricity price value, which will be used in all calculations. The program was originally written in Python, then I transferred to JavaScript with the online open source coding platform code.org. After our coding, the team worked together to improve the aesthetical value of the program. All these programs were relying on a human input, but it may produce an instant result based on the input values. Our next step of development is to combine program 1 and 2 together. So our next step of development is to combine the program 1 and 2 together and put it on the Google Play Store so more people may enjoy it.
So as Mike was saying, we're going to put these 2 programs together and put it into Google Play Store. We're using Google Play Store because it's accessible by more devices than Apple Store. Apple Store is only usable on Apple devices and computers. But these Google Play Stores can be used on Chromebooks, computers, many Android devices, and even some Apple devices that are running on iOS 9 and above. This app is also very reliable because we have searched many websites on how to calculate the certain outputs, and it should provide the reliable results for the user. Our app is going to be called Solar Calc with a capital C, and it's going to be released around June 30th after we convert it into the file that Android can use, which is an Android Studio. And this is our app, and here's Abigail with management.
Thank you.
So one of the main reasons many people are worried about going solar, so to speak, is the cost. And that app is supposed to help calculate that cost so it seems less scary to people. But one of the things the app does not include that is very important is maintenance. Many solar panels can survive for 20 to 30 years with minimal maintenance, as that's the life expectancy of a solar panel, but it is recommended that they get checked annually just in case something does happen. And you should also check them if after a storm or any event like that could potentially damage them. Yearly checks usually cost around $150 for residential areas, and it would likely cost more for McIntosh, but not significantly. Formal cleaning for each panel by an expert can cost $3 to $10 on average, and for the amount of panels that we estimate McIntosh will require, this can be anywhere from $12,000 to $40,000 a year. Additional maintenance will raise the cost, but as long as you monitor your panels and take good care of them, that should be fine. You have to keep them clear of debris, which I will get into later, and keep them at optimal temperatures, which is typically below 25 degrees Celsius. Also can't tell you what that is in Fahrenheit, so sorry. If you keep them clear of debris and keep them clean and monitored, then you can see up to a 30% increase in efficiency. To keep panels in top condition, they do need monitoring. Anything that obstructs sunlight, such as a tree branch or whole tree, should be cleared so that you can have less shadows on your solar panel. However, at McIntosh, the ceiling is mostly clear, so this should not be a problem for us. You should also remove pollen and leaf buildup and other debris so that you can have a clear surface without any obstruction. There are monitors in many solar panels that will take inputs from the solar panel and output anything that may be a potential problem for the panel. So this should be monitored constantly just to make sure that your panel is in top condition. There are cleaning systems for panels that look kind of like sprinklers and do spray the panels. This can help in both keeping it clear of pollen and leaves and also keeping it at optimal temperatures. You have to keep it below 25 degrees Celsius because it will reduce efficiency if it gets above that, and there's a certain point when the panel will take damage. Most panels come with 3 warranties: performance, workmanship, and equipment. Performance covers how efficient your solar panel is. This will usually say that your panel will be working at 90% its original efficiency at 10 years and 80% at 20 to 25 years. Workmanship covers the installation, not the installation cost, but anything wrong with installation. So if the installers accidentally break your panel or setup, then that's their fault and not yours, and the warranty will cover that. Equipment covers things such as the inverter and the panels themselves. This warranty usually lasts 10 to 12 years, but it really depends on the panel and company. Some insurance policies will also cover panels, but not all. The insurance policies will also only cover the panels themselves and damage taken to them in a storm or something. So cleaning is all on you. However, this does vary by insurance policy, so you'd have to check yours specifically to make sure. Thank you.
Thank you, app team. That concludes the how part of our presentation. Up again is Maximilian Rogermeyer with financial design and execution.
McIntosh is a school that demands excellence. Excellence in its students, its teachers, its administration, and its community. Not only would it be a school to have the commitment and support to install solar panels, but it is a near perfect application for them. Of the 5,500 schools in the nation to have adopted solar energy, not one of them has yet been able to achieve 100% of their energy requirements on as large of a scale as would be necessary to power McIntosh. However, after nearly 9 months of research, speaking to multiple installers, calculating solar exposure, and comparing to other schools in Array, I can tell you without a doubt it can be done, and that if there's a school to do it, it's McIntosh. Okay, so let's first look at a comparison between McIntosh and another large solar array in our area. But let's take a look at Crown Plaza. Now, Crown Plaza is a hotel that has recently installed a 1600 solar panel array, and it comes in at 680 kilowatts. It costs them $1.06 million to install, and they actually have an ROI time of 6 years. Now, for reference, the general residential application of solar panels gives you a return on investment in about 10 to 15 years. However, Crown Plaza is such a low or such a quick return on investment due to the way that they operate. See, McIntosh and Crown Plaza both operate a lot during peak hours. Now, typically with residential, you have people that are going to work or going to school during the middle hours of the day, which is when you're going to be using the most energy for HVAC systems, and you're going to be causing the most stress on the electrical grid. McIntosh and Crown Plaza both operate a lot during these hours, which is bad if you're getting energy from the electrical system, but it's very good if you're operating off of solar panels because that's also the time that you have the most solar exposure. Now, Crown Plaza, even though they have this giant, amazing, cutting-edge technology, solar array, they actually only power 25% of their electrical needs. You're probably asking, why is that? They spend so much money. Surely they would want to get a lot out of it. They actually are getting a lot out of it in terms of the electricity generated, but the reason that Crown Plaza is only powering a quarter of their energy is because of the sun. This is a solar analysis of the roof, and as you can see, Crown Plaza has not only bright areas. Bright areas is more solar exposure. There's all these dark areas on the roofs. They couldn't install in any of these dark areas. They couldn't install in this entire section. They couldn't install here. They pretty much only installed on the really, really bright areas. This is because they have a really, really bad stream when you're talking about installing solar panels, which means because they're a hotel, they want really good customer satisfaction. A big selling point is the nature area of it. So they didn't want to damage the trees on the property, so they instead had to do less solar panels, but they're actually using a really good model. They're currently using the LG400, which has a 27% efficiency. That doesn't seem like that much. You want close to 90. 27 is actually low when you consider how much solar exposure we're getting in Georgia because of how close we are to the equator. This is one of the reasons that their solar panel array costs so much, even though non-carbon damages are building, is because they have to use really expensive solar panels. But they're also good because they're very durable and they have an amazing warranty program. They have a warranty of 25 to 30 years, so they will replace even when you're getting closer to the high efficiency section of the solar panel life. Now, a further look at McIntosh. McIntosh, as you can see, is a perfect site for solar panels. We're lined up in east-west axis, which means we're going to get a lot of solar exposure during pretty much all times of the day. And as you can see, our entire roof is super bright. This is pretty much the perfect section. And these tree lines don't cut into any roofing at all. You only have problems right on the very edges, but you can still install solar panels there. And because of the way that our roof is designed, typically in a house you have sloped roofs, which means that you have to get special installers to come and install special mounting and ballasts, which is going to increase your costs a lot. But because we have flat roofs, the only thing changing the texture of the roofs is roof wells, which is where it dips down to the framing. But a typical ballast system that would normally be installed on flat roofs is not going to be affected by this at all. And so we calculated the solar exposure, and we spoke with a bunch of installers that actually service this area, and installers that would probably be up for the job of installing here. And we would need a 1.8 megawatt array, so that's 2.5 times the size of Crown Plaza, and we got a $2.67 million estimate. Now that is close to 2.5 times the size of Crown Plaza. That's how much energy you're going to need. But this actually is price that's going to be cut down a lot, because that is based on the general estimate of being in Georgia, but most places in Georgia, Crown Plaza, there's a lot of trees. And so you either have to cut those down, which costs a lot, or you just won't build them. But McIntosh does not have this problem at all. So if we were to see this specific for McIntosh, have an installer come in and work closely with us, then what we're recommending right now is instead of LG400, which is just $300 per panel, instead switch to models from companies like Strategy. Now, LG400 is 27% efficient but models from astrology have a 24% efficiency, which is a cut in efficiency, 3%. But they only cost $128 per 72 cell model. So you're getting a 3% cut in efficiency, but an over 50% cut on the price. And because we have a large space, and it's very prime space, you can easily fill it up with these lower efficiency models and save a bunch of money. And McIntosh is seriously, after doing research and looking at these other schools, it's seriously a perfect application for it. Okay, so now that we've talked more about the reasons that McIntosh is great for solar energy, let's talk about the financial design and execution. So, I mentioned before that there's 5,500 schools in the nation that have currently integrated solar technology. Now, pretty much none of these have gotten to 100%, and that's because currently they're working with the PPA model, which is a power purchasing agreement, which is when you get a third-party company, they bring solar panels that they install, own, and manage. You just install it on your property. You come install it on the roof. It would actually be a really easy integration. They can do it over the summer easily if they have surveyors beforehand. But the problem with this is that you still have to buy back the energy because you don't own the panels. However, the cost will be approximately 75% of our current electric power costs, which is a really big cut. But the drawback to this is that you will be continuing to pay that further and further when you do have the opportunity to instead have a zero electricity bill if you were to make it on the installers. Now, this is something we work with the installer. And because this is a professional installer, I'm going to be very quick. Very soon, we spoke with our cousin's owner. He was talking a lot about how easy it was to install. He hasn't had any problems during the night or during big storms or any damage, and it was really easy to integrate. This is meaning that we're moving to a more personalized system. As an installer, we'll work closely with the architects in State County, and this is the quickest return on investment. Before it says 5.6 years, that is incredibly short, especially for an array this large, and this is amazing, and it is possible. The technology is here and it's now. It would not be that difficult to install them in our school. Now the next and last design that we are going to propose to you is a design we've worked on a lot. It's a multi-phase plan. Because obviously, dropping out that money on just like one thing that you haven't demonstrated or proven at McIntosh yet is a lot of tax for you guys. And I'm sure that all the taxpayers in this room wouldn't really want the money knowing that just immediately. And immediately you're going to have to continue those. So our multi-phase plan. Now, this will be integrating solar into McIntosh slowly and demonstrating to the county that people are supportive and that they can work with McIntosh. So our plan is currently year one on us. So in the golf cart parking lot, we have 635, I believe it is, golf carts that have parking passes for McIntosh. And pretty much all of these are going to be electric, which means that typically when a student drives to McIntosh and they come back home, I mean, anybody that listens to HCCD knows, like you plug it in overnight, because then it'll be charged when you wake up. But if you would think about it, that you have 600 plus golf carts that are charging every single night, like nearly a quarter of the battery, that is also a lot of coal. And that's only that, they wouldn't be charging otherwise if you didn't have to come to McIntosh and golf carts. So that's a big externality for their environment. And so if we were to instead install solar panels, which is awnings that are raised up off the ground, kind of like little roofs over all the parking spots in the golf cart parking lot, then they would be able to charge at school, and they would not have to charge at home. It would be a self-sustaining system, and it would be really easy to charge, and that's cutting down on how much fuel is going to be used by residents. And these awnings, the county wouldn't have to pay for them, because there are specific grants such as the TGSA grant, which would pay for up to 50% of the cost of materials for construction of 3-12 schools, and that's up to a maximum of $50,000. So it'd be the perfect application for solar awnings at McIntosh. And then, I know that we have a supportive community and supportive passionate students. I believe that we can fill the rest of the 50% through public fundraising, because I know that people want the best for their students, the best for the future of like the future of the nation. I think that people would be supportive of McIntosh. The next year too, many of you have probably noticed the solar panel on the flagpole. It powers lights on the flagpole because patriotism. But we could continue to install similar solar panels on perhaps parking lot lights and then power lights in the stadium. Because while although not used that often, it's really high power draws because there's super bright lights, and you can power things like the scoreboard, and this is also done with public fundraisers, because they'd all be closed independent systems, so they wouldn't need to install. And I think it would be very nice as people came to game, they would know that all the lights are being powered by something that they donated to that's helping the environment. So year 3, I think we could probably continue more public fundraising and begin roof installation. My suggestion was to begin roof installation on the new additions to McIntosh. We've spoken with Mike Sessler at the county, and he said one of the best applications for the new additions would be to power the HVAC systems. You could do this, you wouldn't even have solar panels on the whole roof. Actually installing them in UCC isn't too difficult because now that they've worked with Crown Plaza more, there's new pathways opening up to make it a lot quicker. You don't have to do as much paperwork. So we can begin powering this decision. Then in year 4, and then these next years with roof installation could be given a further timeline, but year 4 we would continue roof installation, perhaps another roof installation to power like all of the lights for the whole building. And you wouldn't even, that would be pretty easy. And then in year 5 to year 6, I think you could finish the roof. And I know that we have support of the community and support of teachers that would want this to happen and would help donate. And it's like a pretty great all the business talks about before. But this is a general timeline that we've come up with, and we've done for all of our research. We feel like this would be a really good application for McIntosh. This is supposed to be a really good application for McIntosh, and this would be good because it's an easy system. You don't have to worry about relationships. So. Just for a conclusion, I present you with 3 choices, okay, and I feel like I've given them all a pretty good representation. You can outsource it to a company and pay monthly bills. You can spread out all these benefits over 5 to 10 years, or instead, I urge you to be the first in the nation to achieve what we have a unique opportunity to do, a 100% solar-powered school on a prodigious scale. We have the unique opportunity to be a standout and an example of schools for years to come. So I ask you this. What do you want McIntosh to be? What do you want to be? Because I know what I want to be. I want to be this. I want to be the first. I want to be the one. I want to be the one to achieve what nobody else has yet been able to do on such a large scale. I want to be excellent, what McIntosh strives for. I want the school to be excellent. We want to be excellent. We can be excellent. The technology is there, and it is just a matter of putting it into place. If not for the educational opportunities, and not for the environmental benefits, if not for the economic savings, then do it for this. The McIntosh I see. Not the McIntosh you're standing in now, with power outages and a really echoey senior cafeteria, but the McIntosh the way it can be, the way I know you want it to be. A McIntosh that leads and inspires its students to be creative and innovate and be passionate and work hard to change their world for the better. Do it for that. It is here and it is now and it is possible, and I know that we can do it. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time, ladies and gentlemen. We really appreciate you coming out and clearing your schedules for us. We worked very hard on this project and are glad we could share it with you today.